Hello everyone. In today's session we'll study about vapor power cycle. First we'll study working of Carnot vapor cycle, then how to plot its working on PV and TS diagram. Second we'll be studying about Rankine cycle and plot its working on PV and TS diagram. And finally we'll do the comparison between Carnot cycle and Rankine cycle. So let us begin with Carnot vapor cycle. First we'll see the various component of Carnot cycle and how it works. Basically the first component is boiler. The function of the boiler is to convert water into high pressure and high temperature steam. The steam which is generated in boiler is sent to the turbine. The turbine will convert the steam into mechanical work to generate electricity or can be used in some other applications. The next component is the condenser. The exit steam from the turbine is then passed through the condenser where the condensation or phase change from wet vapor to liquid water by the rejection of heat takes place. The fourth component is the compressor. The liquid water from condenser is then sent back to the boiler with the help of the compressor for generating steam. So this is the way the entire cycle completes with its four components. Now we'll consider 4 points. First is before boiler, second before turbine, third before condenser, and fourth is before the compressor. There will be 4 processes carried out around these 4 points which will complete the entire cycle. Let us plot this process on PV and TS diagram. In the PV diagram, pressure P is plotted against the vertical line, volume V in the horizontal line, and in the TS diagram, temperature T is plotted against the vertical line and entropy S is plotted in the horizontal line. We need to remember some of the conditions while plotting the PV and TS graph because we know that Carnot cycle is considered as an ideal cycle. So there are so many assumptions that we have made in Carnot cycle, like there is no friction and no heat loss. Here in Carnot cycle, the working fluid is water and vapor mixture. So it is also known as Carnot vapor cycle. So let us see the process 1 to 2. Between this process 1 to 2, there is boiler. In this boiler, the saturated water is isothermally, that is at same temperature and same pressure is converted into dry steam. That is saturated water at point 1 will be completely converted into dry saturated steam at point 2 under the same temperature and pressure. So in PV diagram, as P1 is equal to P2, you can see a straight line. Similarly, in TS diagram also you can see 1 to 2 as a straight line as T1 is equal to T2. This we are plotting against the vapor dome. To the left is the saturated liquid line, to the right is the saturated vapor line, and beyond this is the superheated steam. So the points will lie on this two curve because saturated water at point 1 is converted into dry saturated steam at point 2. This steam will be given to the turbine. The turbine will produce work. So in turbine during expansion there will be drop in pressure and temperature. But the condition is that process is isentropic. Isentropic means there is no heat addition or heat rejection. So whatever energy will be generated by steam, it will be given to the turbine and this turbine will give you work output. So this isentropic process will be done at constant entropy. So in PV diagram you see there is expansion from 2 to 3 and drop in pressure. But as this is at constant entropy, in TS diagram it will be a straight line. Now the exit steam from the turbine it will be given to the condenser. The condenser will reject all the heat given to the steam by that boiler. So it will be exactly reverse. You can see 1 to 2 is isothermal expansion, whereas 3 to 4 will be isothermal compression. So here in PV diagram, P3 is equal to P4 and in TS diagram, T3 will be equal to T4. Now next is the compressor. Compressor works exactly reverse of the turbine. That is, in turbine we get work output and there is drop in pressure and temperature, whereas in compressor work is done on the compressor and there is rise in pressure and temperature, and the pressure from point 4 will come back to 1 by isentropic compression. Whereas in TS diagram, as it is at constant entropy, it will be a straight line. Thus, there are 4 processes carried out in Carnot cycle: isothermal expansion, isentropic expansion, then isothermal compression and isentropic compression. Now let's see the efficiency of the Carnot cycle. We know that efficiency is equal to work done upon heat supplied. Here work done is equal to heat supplied minus heat rejected. Heat supplied is Q1 and heat rejected is Q2. So it will be Q1 minus Q2. So the efficiency you can write it as Q1 minus Q2 upon Q1, or else you can write it as 1 minus Q2 upon Q1. So this is the formula for finding the efficiency. Now let us see some of the limitations of Carnot vapor cycle. First, it is not possible to design a compressor which can handle both liquid and vapor mixture. Even if it is made, it will require large input. Next, the vapor has larger specific volume. Hence, to accommodate greater volume, the size of the compressor becomes very big. Next is, for running a large size compressor, more power is required, which will reduce the plant efficiency. Next, it is not possible to add heat at constant temperature. Next, expansion of dry steam will lead to condensate formation on turbine blades and thus can damage the blades. And the last assumption is, or the limitations is, it is not possible to control condensation process at particular dryness fraction to obtain required quality of steam at compressor inlet. So due to the above mentioned facts, Carnot cycle cannot be practically run in a steam power plant. Next best cycle which can give maximum efficiency in a steam power plant is Rankine cycle. So let us study Rankine cycle. Similar to Carnot cycle, Rankine cycle also has 4 components. First is boiler, also known as steam generator. In boiler there is water, and when we apply heat at constant pressure, it will generate steam. This high pressure and high temperature steam is then passed through the turbine. In turbine, it will hit the turbine blades and make the rotor to rotate, give us mechanical work output which can be used to generate power or any other work. After giving work output, the energy of the steam decreases and the pressure and temperature drops. So the exit steam from the turbine will be having low pressure and low temperature and will be in liquid and vapor form. When this mixture gets into the condenser, there is a phase change. The condensation takes place and the vapor is converted into liquid by rejection of heat at constant pressure. Then the liquid is sent through the pump to the boiler. This pump will increase the pressure and slight increase in temperature of the liquid, which will be given back to the boiler in this way the cycle completes. Remember that it is a steady flow process. That means everywhere the mass flow rate is constant. Now let us plot it on PV and TS diagram. Process 1 to 2. The water at point 1 is heated and converted it into steam. Now this steam can be wet steam or dry saturated steam or superheated steam at point 2. at constant pressure and at constant temperature. Since it is at constant pressure and constant temperature, it will be a straight line. You can see it in PV and TS diagram. It is a straight line. But as I told you, at point 2, the steam can be wet steam. If it is wet steam, it is denoted by 2 dash. If it is dry saturated steam, it will be 2. And if it is superheated steam, then it will be denoted by 2 double dash. Next process is the steam at point 2 enters the turbine. That is 2 to 3 process. In the turbine, it expands isentropically, that is at constant entropy. The expansion process generates mechanical work by rotating shaft of turbine. The expansion process is shown in PV diagram by a curve. You can see here a curve. But since it is at constant entropy, it will be a straight line in the TS diagram. Next process is 3 to 4, condensation process. As I told you, the exhaust steam from the turbine will be mixture of liquid and vapor. So this wet steam enters the condenser at point 3. It gets cooled and condensed at constant pressure to saturated water at point 4. This is shown by a straight line in PV. You can see here it will be a straight line in PV as well as in the TS diagram. And you can see point 4 will be on the curve. Both in the PV as well as TS, you can find point 4 will be on the curve as it is saturated water at the end of condensation. So it will come on the saturated liquid line. Next process 4 to 1, that is the pumping process. Water at point 4 is adiabatically pumped to pressure at point 1, slightly increase its temperature. You can see that the pumping water is first getting into subcooled condition and then brought to saturated condition before getting into the boiler. You can see here from 4 to 1, it is coming into the subcooled condition. Both in the PV and TS diagram, you can see that before getting into the boiler, it is in the subcooled condition 4 to 1. And from 1 to 2 is the again the boiling where we generate the steam. So this steam from the subcooled condition, it is coming to the dry saturated steam, wet steam or the superheated steam. So these are the 4 processes carried out in a Rankine cycle. Now coming to the efficiency of the Rankine cycle. We know that efficiency is equal to net work upon heat supplied. Here work associated devices are turbine and pump. So net work will be work done by turbine minus work done by the pump upon heat supplied. As we know, all the devices are steady flow devices. What are devices like the pump, boiler, turbine and condenser? All devices which we use, they are having the steady flow devices. So we can apply steady flow energy equation to this device. So now for example, we will apply the steady flow energy equation to the process 2 to 3 in the turbine. So by applying the steady flow energy equation, we get final result as work done by the turbine is equal to H2 minus H3. Similarly, we can get work done by the pump is equal to H1 minus H4. Heat supplied is equal to H2 minus H1 and heat rejected is equal to H3 minus H4. Now substituting the values in the above equation, that is in the efficiency equation, we guess efficiency of the Rankine is equal to H2 minus H3. This is work done by the turbine, minus H1 minus H4, which is work done by the pump, upon H2 minus H1, which is the heat supplied. Now we know that pump is an open system. So work done by the open system is an integral of V dP. Here V is specific volume and dP is change in pressure. We see that pump is increasing the pressure of liquid and V is at 0.4. You can see in this graph. Before pumping it is at 0.4, that is at saturated liquid line. So we can take it as Vf, where Vf is specific volume of saturated liquid. But we know that Vf is very less than Vg. Vg, that is specific volume of saturated vapor. So since Vf is very less, the work done will be very small. So sometimes during calculation we neglect the pump work, and if we neglect the pump work, then the efficiency derivation becomes Wt upon Qs, because pump work is 0 in this case. Therefore efficiency of Rankine cycle becomes H2 minus H3 upon H2 minus H1. So this is the expression for Rankine cycle efficiency without the pump work. Next we will see the comparison of Carnot cycle and the Rankine cycle. If we compare both, we can see that in Carnot cycle it has more efficiency than Rankine cycle, whereas in Rankine cycle it has comparatively lesser efficiency than Carnot, but it is practically most efficient cycle. Next we can see that compressor work in Carnot is more than pump work in Rankine, whereas in Rankine cycle pump work is very low in Rankine compared to the Carnot, since it deals with liquid only. Next, if we compare, boiler to have constant temperature, heat transfer needs saturated water at inlet, whereas in Rankine cycle colder water can also be used in Rankine boiler, since process need not be isothermal. Next, in the Carnot cycle we can see turbine experiences heavy losses and wear tear, since it deals with water and steam at every stage, whereas in Rankine cycle comparatively very less wear tear, since steam at entry is superheated. And the last, if we see in the Carnot cycle, it is difficult to control exact quality of wet steam at the condenser outlet, whereas in Rankine cycle condenser is partially easy to manage, since it just has to convert entire wet steam into water. So these are some of the comparison we can find in the Carnot cycle as well as in the Rankine cycle, and because of this we mostly prefer for the Rankine cycle in the steam power plant, which is practically possible. Hope you have understood this, what is the Carnot vapor cycle or the Rankine cycle and the comparison between both. Thank you.